What is going on, everybody? Gank Hill here today. If you have been playing on controller and want to switch to keyboard and mouse in Smite 2, I will be going over 5 tips that'll help you out into practicing and becoming a keyboard and mouse god. Now, this video will be broken out into tips first, and then I'll be going over the advantages and disadvantages of playing keyboard and mouse. And from there, you can go ahead and decide whether you want to play keyboard and mouse and maybe even start practicing. Now, a little bit of a background for you guys. I have been playing on controller for probably 22 years of my life. I've been on controller, I've never touched keyboard and mouse, and I used to have the thought of I will never ever play keyboard and mouse. Now, I got a PC about 2 years ago, and from there, I still use my controller probably the first 6 months of having my PC, especially when playing Smite, because I thought that I would never ever be as good as I am in controller on keyboard and mouse. So if you guys are experiencing the same thought process, what I recommend is to just try it out, give it a chance, and stick with it a little bit, and and from there, you can judge whether or not you want to stick with it, whether or not your performance has improved, and just try not to rush things. But anyways, I guess that was a little bit of a honorable mention for a tip, but let me show you guys tip number 1. So tip number 1 would be most definitely to practice, right? Obviously, you're going to be new to keyboard and mouse. You probably click on this video because you are not as familiar with keyboard and mouse. And what I recommend 100%, if you were to take one thing away from this video, is to just keep practicing. Practice your keyboard and mouse and expect to do bad. Don't expect to have high kill games. Don't expect to have high production, high efficiency on your games if you are just on keyboard and mouse. Now, obviously, the stuff like VGSing commands, that'll come with time. Again, this is all about a patience game. Stick with it for about 3 weeks, and from there, see if you want to stick with it even more and invest more of your time in it. And don't be surprised if you do bad in your games, if you miss a lot of abilities, if you fat finger. When I went to keyboard and mouse, I fat fingered a lot, and honestly, on rare occasions, I still fat finger where stuff happens and I accidentally press my tab button and it brings out the scoreboard in the middle of a fight. So that'll just come with practice. Obviously, practice makes perfect. So that'll be my tip number 1. Tip number 2 will definitely be finding your own keybinds. I know that there are a lot of videos out there saying these are the best keybinds. These are the best. This is the best sensitivity. But honestly, unlike controller gameplay, keybinds on the keyboard are personal preference. As you can see in this current game, I have my ability 1, 2, and 3 set to Q, E, R, and my ult to spacebar, right? And my jump button is on I have a side mouse button. So that's something personal to me. That's what I find comfortable, right? Find what you guys find comfortable, and from there, that's when you can implement more practicing. And if you go to, let's say, my video, right, and then go to Weekend's video, you are going to see that his buttons are different than mine. And basically, all in all, just find what's comfortable for you. Obviously, this will also take time, finding what feels natural to you and just getting used to those buttons. Don't keep on changing the buttons. Set the button to a specific button once. Give it about a week if you feel, or give it about a few days, maybe not a week. Give it about a few days, and if you're comfortable with it, stick to that, right? Don't keep changing it game by game, unless you're just really new to it. But don't keep changing it every single game. Stick with it for a couple days, and from there you'll get better. And also, I also want to talk about sensitivity. Unlike controller, where having a high sensitivity can benefit you, on keyboard and mouse it's actually different. Having a lower sensitivity is actually more common. If you guys are wondering what my sensitivities are, my X is about a 9, and my Y, which is my vertical, which is about an 11. not, you know, not 911 or anything, but that's what I find most comfortable, right? It's what I find most comfortable. So you guys, um, will probably, your sensitivity will probably be different than mine. More players are like the fast mouse turns where, um, you barely have to move your mouse and you'll be able to do a full 360, but find what's comfortable for you. Start at 10-10 and from there adjust, right? If you think 10-10 is still too fast, adjust to 7-7. Adjust, you know, you just keep adjusting, keep, you know, being patient with it, keep practicing, and eventually you will get better. Now, if you guys don't want to be sticking to the whole keyboard and mouse completely, and you want to meet somewhere in the middle, there has to be something in the middle. I recommend buying these gloves from Amazon. These gloves are called the Azeron Cyborg Gaming Keypad. These are pricey at $219, but this has a more controller slash keyboard familiar feel. You have a joystick at the left. You have your keybinds, which you can personally set at their website. I personally have never bought them, but I know friends that did use these and are far more comfortable using these because they have been used to a controller and don't want to learn keyboard and mouse completely. And yeah, it's a good in between keyboard and mouse while being able to still have that controller familiar feeling. Basically, the main advantage of playing keyboard and mouse is because you can aim with your mouse. Once you get used to it, aiming with your mouse is far superior than aiming with your controller. You have more control, which is why when you play competitive games like Call of Duty, a lot of competitive players are on keyboard and mouse. If you play Fortnite, a lot of the top players play on keyboard and mouse. Aiming is just far superior in keyboard and mouse than it is on controller, especially if you're trying to hit people from a distance, especially trying to make the quick turns while at the same time being accurate. Now, tip number 4 may come as a surprise, but it is to play easier games. When I first started my keyboard and mouse journey, I didn't start on Smite because I personally felt that it was too much for me. It was too many things trying to get used to. You know, I was a new keyboard and mouse player playing controller for 22 years of my life, and I have to relearn keybinds, I have to do this. You know, still have to even get used to the feel of keyboard and mouse. So what I did was surprisingly play Minecraft. I played Minecraft first on keyboard and mouse for about a week or so, oh, maybe even 2 to 3 weeks, just literally getting used to the keys, getting used to WASD. And obviously WASD is, you know, what you use to move forward, left, right, and back. Getting used to the movement, how to move in keyboard and mouse, right? Especially on a game like Smite where you move with WASD, it's definitely a different feel from going from controller to keyboard and mouse. So what I recommend if you guys just want to get used to, you know, in general keyboard and mouse, is play an easier game where it's not as high pressure. Something like Minecraft. I found Minecraft to be a perfect game to play for me. It was easy, it was chill. I can make as many mistakes as I want. I can fat finger as many times as I want, and you know, there isn't any hard repercussions or any crazy consequences if I make a mistake playing on keyboard and mouse. Now, tip number 5, this is a given, is just to have patience with it. Stick with it. You're going to have a very, very rough time the first few weeks. Do not let that discourage you. I am forever grateful that I stuck with keyboard and mouse. I personally thought that I could never do it, especially again having 22 years of playtime on controller. I thought I would never ever get used to keyboard and mouse, and the idea of change I didn't like, and I think that's what's kind of pressuring people not to switch, is they're just so used to controller. They can never ever think that they'll be as good on keyboard and mouse, but I promise you it's a lot easier. You know, I'm really trying my best to convince you. You know, it may not be for everybody, right? I mean, obviously some people don't have the will to learn, you know, and completely just or have the time to learn, right? But I promise you it is worth it, and just keep at it. Keep at it. You're gonna do great at it. Don't be discouraged by a few bad games. Don't be discouraged for having a bad time. You'll get it right. Don't worry. Now, if you made it this far in the video, thank you. Just a reminder, if you guys do enjoy these tips, to leave a like, comment, sub. But now I'm going to be going over some advantages and a few disadvantages on keyboard and mouse from my personal experience. So, first advantage is the easiness of aiming. The more accurate you are on keyboard and mouse versus controller, the ability to turn fast at the same time being accurate is something that keyboard and mouse will always beat. And also, a lot of good games are on PC. A lot of good games are on keyboard and mouse. So if you want to play, other games other than Smite 2, then I do recommend, might as well just get used to keyboard and mouse. Now, you can also set your own personal keybinds, and basically navigating the store is easier on keyboard and mouse. Basically, any quality of life change is easier on keyboard and mouse. However, there are, again, some disadvantages of keyboard and mouse, and I would say the biggest disadvantage is the learning curve, especially if you're not used to keyboard and mouse. That is the biggest advantage, but once you get past that learning curve, it will benefit you tremendously. Your rank will probably increase like two ranks up, just because you're hitting your stuff. And you'll be able to, once you get on keyboard and mouse, you'll be able to easily tell who's on controller and who's not by the way they're turning, by the way they're missing, by the way they can flick shots. You'll be, obviously it's not impossible to do on controller, but it's a lot harder. And maybe you'll be able to hit some shots, but as far as consistency, keyboard and mouse is where it'll dominate. So those are my advantages slash disadvantages of it. As a 22-year controller player, I personally think keyboard and mouse is the way to go. Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, sub. And this video won't be finishing out. However, I will be showing you guys a small little clip at the end here, just on my name change, and just a little funny interaction that happened post lobby. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one.